News has recently come out that there was a game on the horizon that would have surely made Donkey Kong fans happy, but it seems to be no more. Sadly, let's break this all down. Up next. What's going on, guys? It's Kalo, and I'm here to give you the lowdown on all things gaming. And if you're new here, feel free to subscribe to this channel for weekly video game news content. Drop a like on the video, and welcome to the Level Up. Now, full disclosure, I do like talking about video games. It's my favorite thing to do. That's why I made this channel. But today's news got me a little upset, so let's just get on with it. Alrighty, today's story is me more or less being selfish here and dedicating a whole damn episode to a game and franchise I hold near and dear to my heart, being Donkey Kong, and more specifically Donkey Kong 64. This is one of those games that stuck out to me for so long, and when I look back on games that stood the test of time, Decay 64 tops the list. And since then, the franchise has been lacking in the 3D platformer realm, and it's always a move that made me really scratch my head. Sure, since Donkey Kong 64 we've gotten a handful of 2D platformers within the Donkey Kong Country lineage, but at the same time, where are those 3D platformers? Well, thanks to this new report, we might have been really close to getting this game. And it could have been coming from Activision? Okay, I had my fun, but that's more or less a technicality. Anyways, thanks to mynintendonews.com, we got a full rundown of this game's life cycle, so let's jump into it. The game existed under the working codename Donkey Kong Freedom, and it was apparently scrapped years ago. The only reason why we're talking about such a game today is thanks to Decay and Did You Know Gaming, who did a fantastic job covering this news, and I'll link that video in the description down below. So, in its early days, the game was developed by Vicarious Visions, who has since been renamed Blizzard Albany. The game was set to take place on a large open island, and gameplay would look to use kinetic energy, much like the Donkey Kong Country games. Donkey Kong would be sliding down vines and ropes thanks to a new feature called vine grinding, and when Donkey Kong was doing this, he'd be wearing banana peels as shoes. Now, just bear with me. This is all funny because this was a direct response from feedback provided by Shigeru Miyamoto, and his concern that Donkey Kong would get rope burn on his feet. I mean, hey, I gotta hand it to him. The attention to detail is there. And as for Donkey Kong himself, he would be featuring a look that would see him have bigger arms and smaller legs. So, I guess he did skip leg day. The story details for this game are scarce to say the least, but Donkey Kong Island would see a factory being opened up, which would then dam up a river. And without that river flow, the local banana trees would dry up and create somewhat of a crisis for those living on the island. Okay, is it just me, or is this story pretty dark for a Nintendo game? Villains for the story, at least from what I found, weren't even picked out yet, seeing how they were just so focused on the game's mechanics. The story didn't take precedent at that time. But some returning characters would include the likes of Diddy Kong and Rambi the Rhino. I gotta be honest, I didn't remember his name was Rambi, so I learned something new today too. Now, the question I was kind of left with was, why was this game scrapped? Well, Nintendo was interested in working with Vicarious Visions, but Activision, who owned Vicarious Visions at the time, were not interested in working with Nintendo. I'm just shaking my head here. And after a few leadership departures from the studio, somehow a prototype build of the game was still in the works. But despite all that, Activision had more of a desire to work on the Crash Bandicoot Insane Trilogy and their own IPs. So by the end of 2016, the game was officially scrapped. Now, I will still sit here to this day and hold out hope we will see another 3D Donkey Kong game come to life. So much so, we did cover rumors a while back saying that that game could possibly be a launch title for the Switch too. Again, we don't know if that's concrete, but I'm gonna hold out hope. And with hearing all this news today, hearing the Activision part, they're owned by Xbox now. And if that game is still kind of in the works, could that be a bridge between Nintendo and Xbox? I know I'm just getting wild here with speculation, but I'm just throwing it out there. But with all that being said, before I ramble too much longer, I'm going to pass it off to you guys. Would you guys be down for a 3D Donkey Kong game in 2024? Or should they just stick to 2D platformers like Donkey Kong Country, seeing how that's more popular? But that about does it here. I've been Kalo, I gave you the lowdown on all things gaming, and if you're new here, feel free to subscribe to this channel for weekly video game news content, drop a like on the video, and this has been the Level Up.